The bamboo cane's lesson, when the consequences of recklessness mend the soul. A narrative of transformation. Another person recounts his tale, saying, "When we were mere youths, perhaps 15 or 16 years of age, my cousin used to pick me up in his car, and we would venture out together. We were filled with the impetuousness of youth, but my own recklessness was far more pronounced. I would fill balloons with water, and whenever we passed by a bystander, I would pelt them with those water bombs. It was a display of childish folly. My cousin would constantly rebuke me, saying, 'You have troubled me enough. This is my car, and if a problem arises, my father will surely confiscate it from me. Cease these antics at once.' Yet I chose to ignore his pleas entirely. One fateful day, I was carrying a cane. It was thin, resilient bamboo cane, tightly wrapped in adhesive tape. We were cruising at a speed of approximately 80 kilometers per hour. As we approached a man riding a motorcycle, who appeared to be a foreign expatriate worker, I leaned out of the window as we drew near and struck him across his back with all the strength I could muster. My cousin, finally reaching the limit of his patience with my juvenile and cruel behavior, suddenly slammed on the brakes and brought the car to a complete halt. I turned to him in a panic and shouted, "Escape! Drive away!" But he looked at me firmly and replied, "By God, I shall not flee." The motorcyclist pulled up beside us. In those days, older cars were equipped with manual window cranks. I scrambled to roll up the window as fast as my hands could move, but the man thrust his hand through the remaining gap before it could close. He seized me with a grip of iron and pulled me through that narrow opening as if I were a helpless kitten. I cannot fathom to this day how it happened, but I did not regain my full senses until I found myself lying flat on my back, staring up at the vast sky, with my garment soaked in blood. That man, the narrator, now says, "I am a father now, a man of years and responsibility, but whenever I recall that incident, I pray for that man's well-being. He did something to me that forced me to learn discipline. He truly raised me that day. Since that moment, I have never raised a hand against another soul, and I have learned to treat everyone with profound respect." Such harsh encounters are often the very catalysts that awaken the heart and reshape one's deepest convictions. Lessons and insights derived from the story. The consequence of injustice and aggression. The story illustrates that those who inflict harm upon others without justification will inevitably face the repercussions of their actions. The apparent vulnerability of others, such as an expatriate worker, does not grant anyone the right to violate their dignity or safety. Taking a firm stand with loved ones, the cousin's stance was both noble and courageous. His refusal to flee and his willingness to accept responsibility served as the first lesson in ending the cover-up of wrongdoing. The offender must face the results of his actions in order to truly learn. Harsh encounters as a school of life. Sometimes, a physical shock or a painful confrontation is the only means to awaken the conscience of a reckless individual when verbal advice fails. This is what the storyteller referred to as true upbringing or re-education. The value of admitting fault and self-purification, the narrator's maturity, his admission of his youthful errors as an adult, and even his prayers for the man who struck him, indicate that the shock achieved its ultimate goal, building a character that respects the rights of others and values human dignity, regardless of profession or nationality. Respect for others as the foundation of coexistence. Childish recklessness may seem like jesting to the one committing it, but it can leave deep wounds in the souls of others. This harsh lesson was sufficient to plant the principle of mutual respect in the narrator's heart forever. If you enjoyed the story, support us by liking and subscribing to the channel to see more.